Hi sweet people, welcome back to my channel. We are doing a car edition. If you have never been here before, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. My name is Heather Sweetman. I live in the city of Chicago with my husband Matt and our 4 sweet, rowdy, crazy kids. Our youngest child has severe special needs. We are a church planting family. And I'm here on YouTube just to share some of our story. When we first started out on our special needs journey, I was searching on YouTube for people who had already been in my shoes to help me kind of emotionally process what we were going through, our world being turned upside down. And I couldn't find anything. So I am here to offer what I have learned. I'm here to offer my story in hopes that it will encourage you wherever you are at, whatever you are going through. I do want to say I'm not a professional. I have had no professional training. I personally have received counseling and coaching, which I am deeply grateful for. So these videos that I am making are my own experience in hopes that it will help someone else, encourage someone else. That being said, I want to attempt to answer the question, can anything good come from grief? Because especially early on, it can feel like every day is a fight, and every day you're just trying to survive, and every day you're trying to make sense of what has happened and what went wrong, and did you do something to make it wrong, and oh, if I had just done this or that, maybe things would be different, or maybe there's something out there that can make the situation just disappear. We can kind of make ourselves crazy with feeling like, what if I could do something different, or what if I did do something different? And will life always feel like this? Before I kind of answer this question, or attempt to answer this question based on my own experience, I would just say grief is hard, and it is a messy process. It's a messy ordeal. It is not 1 + 2 = 3. There are many days where I feel like I've started over. I can feel like, oh, I thought I made progress in this area, to find that I'm dealing with some emotions that maybe I thought I had worked through a year ago or 2 years ago. This is a normal part of difficult circumstances, that this is a normal part of life. And so I think knowing that it's not linear, it's not, step by step by step, but it's kind of a 2 steps up, 1 step back kind of process. And it's not even that neat, to be honest. You can check out my video called Through the Valley, and I describe in there a very specific process that a counselor shared with me about what it is to go through grief, through the valley of grief, and how messy it is, and how you can, be way here on the other side, and something can happen, something can trigger you, and you can feel like you're going all the way back to the beginning. So I just want to kind of share that from the very beginning, that grief is messy, but there are some really beautiful, good things that can come out of it. One of my favorite verses actually is Isaiah 45:3, and I will give you treasures hidden in the darkness, secret riches. I will do this so you may know that I am the Lord, the God of Israel, the one who calls you by name. And I love that, because I do believe I've experienced this in my own walk, and I have seen others experience it as well, that even though you wouldn't choose or wish the troubled times that we go through, the difficult times that we go through, there are really good things that can come out of grief. And I probably would not have believed that in year kind of 1 or 2 of our special needs journey, when I felt like everything was falling apart, that nothing I did mattered, that I was pouring all of this energy and work into helping our daughter that really didn't seem to be making much of a difference. So And it's not that my situation has changed all that much. There are a couple of things that she is now able to do, but for the most part, she is 100% reliant on my husband and myself and our older 3 kids and her caregiver and her para and her teachers and her therapists and her doctors. She cannot function in this world without an extreme amount of help. And she has one of the strongest personalities, the strongest heart, such perseverance, such incredible courage. She teaches my husband and myself and our 3 older kids what it is to be able to laugh at the small things, be able to relish and enjoy the small things. So that in and of itself is something that is good, that can come from grief. And I want to be clear, my daughter does not cause me grief. What causes me grief is seeing her wanting to do things and wanting to run and dance and laugh and play, her body just not allowing her to do so. So as a parent, anything like that just breaks your heart. In that vein, I really believe that there is good things that can come from grief. That when we give ourselves to the process, that emotional health is an incredible thing that can grow. You can't really be emotionally healthy if everything is good and great all the time. It's really easy to live with joy and happiness and peace and pleasure. The real emotional health is grown out of a place of trouble and out of a place of learning to figure out, okay, what are these emotions trying to tell me? These emotions don't define me, but they do tell me something about myself. They tell me something about what I'm going through. Our knee-jerk reactions go off all the time in difficult circumstances. And I had a counselor once tell my husband and I to pay attention to your knee-jerk reactions, that they don't define who you are, but they tell you of pain that needs to be healed. So when we go through grief, when we go through difficult circumstances, it's the very thing that God wants to use to grow us, to mature us. As I believe it can give you closer friendships. Now, this isn't going to be for all friendships, but I believe as we walk through grief and as we choose to do that with maybe 1 or 2 close friends, and as we choose to share what's going on with us, generally when we are vulnerable with people we are people in our lives who are safe people, it draws you closer together, but it also gives an invitation to that person to also share vulnerably with you as well. So it can bring you closer together with your close friendships, close relationships. I think it makes you, number 3, if you're a parent, I think it actually makes you a better parent. And I want to say that cautiously because I know that there is plenty that I've actually had to apologize for to my children as I've walked through grief. In my previous video, I actually shared a bunch of different emotions that can kind of let you know, oh, you might be grieving. And a couple are increased anger and anxiety. And when we're angry and anxious, and we can say things we don't mean, we can say things we regret. And so actually in grief, I've had to do a lot of apologizing. But what I think it has given me as a parent are eyes to see, not perfectly. Again, I've learned because of the emotional health that I am working on in all of these experiences with grief. It kind of is a red flag when one of my kiddos is having a really hard time. It generally is not about the thing that they're upset about. And so I think it helps you be more aware as a parent that there are other things going on. It helps you to kind of, as I'm learning to ask questions to myself to kind of dig deeper, I can then turn those questions and apply them to the situations my kids are going through. It gives me tools to ask questions and go deeper and validate what they're feeling, but then also helping them to think through what it is they need to do and to move forward. Number 4, same thing applies to marriage. I think walking through grief, partnering with grace, grows compassion. And anytime you grow compassion, you're going to grow compassion for other people. It is self-compassion, but it's also compassion for other people. And if that is extending into your marriage, you're going to have more grace and more patience. I know that I have needed a lot of grace, and Matt has so generously given that to me. He has been such a safe place. And I would say, actually, for us, in our marriage, years kind of like 7 through 12, or 7 through 11 in our marriage, years 7 through 11 were really rocky. And we went to a lot of counseling, and we read a lot of books, and we had a lot of conversations. And when we got through that, we're like, oh man, now we can help other couples who go through rocky times. And then soon after that, I gave birth to Finley, and soon after that, she got her diagnosis, and life kind of turned upside down. And it was, I don't know where we would be had we not gone through that really rough patch in our marriage, because I think that kind of paved the way for us to be able to have some of the conversations that we have needed to have over the years. And the next one I would say is helping others who have been in your shoes. Our troubles are not just our own. Like, our troubles are universal in some sense. I've been able to help other moms, other families who have, been in really difficult circumstances, especially when it comes to their kids. And so it gives you an ability to step into someone else's shoes in a way that you wouldn't have if you had not gone through the grief. And the final one is just that it gives you more compassion. It grows your compassion. Grief, partner with grace, grows your compassion. You see people in a totally different light. You can have moments of compassion, moments of real deep empathy and love and understanding for people who aren't even in your situation. But there's just a depth of compassion that wouldn't have been there otherwise. So this life is hard and challenging and full of grief, tiny griefs and massive griefs and everything in between. And I don't know about you, but if life is full of trouble and if life is full of grief, I want to face life with a mindset, with a heart set, with a mentality that I want good to come of it. I want to get to the end of my life, and I want to be a woman who is full of joy and compassion and grace and strength. I want to be able to look back on my life and think there were some dark days, there were some dark years that I thought I was never going to get through. But by the grace of God, He has helped me. He has strengthened me. He has been the anchor in the storm. On the days that I could see it and on the days that I couldn't, He has been there for me. That's the kind of 90-year-old I want to be if I live to be 90. Doesn't take away the pain, but there is some comfort in knowing that good is coming from this and good will come from this. The days will get brighter. You will be able to see good again. You will be able to see the sun shining again. And in the midst of it all, God is depositing incredible gifts, incredible treasures on those dark days, in the dark and hidden places where you feel like no one sees you and no one understands and no one gets it. He's there with you. He steps down into that pit with you. He's there holding your hand. He's right beside you, wrapping His arms around you. You're not called to live this life alone. He's right there beside you. By the grace of God, we're going to make it bit by bit. I hope this has encouraged you today. I hope this has blessed you today. I would love it if you gave me a like. I would love it if you left a comment that tells YouTube that this is helpful content that you would like other people to see. And I also have a blog, heathersweetman.com. You can check out more of our story there. Bless you guys. I'll see you this time next week. Bye.